back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and we are back for another review of the Real Housewives Miami, and this is season 7, episode 18. This is reunion part 1, the extended and uncensored. So this is the Peacock extended uncensored version. And yes, I know you are so used to me singing Miami's hot, 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 hot fire. But we're not doing that today because this first part infuriated me. It infuriated me. And right away, let's get to it. Okay? Gertie, get behind me. I got you. I got you. Get behind me, Gertie. Because the way these women try to continue to play in Gertie's face and gaslight her and bring up old recycled beef from the season 4. If they don't go somewhere with this, get away with me with this. Get away with me this. And also ignoring the whole idea of the people who are also on the receiving end, the contacts. Yeah, stop it. Oh my gosh, my apologies. Their spirits, the evil spirits just got in my throat. I kid. Kind of, not really. No, I've been talking all day today with my regular job, and I worked longer than I normally would. It's normally on Fridays I get like a half day, depending on how things are. But today, it's been a mess. I haven't had lunch yet, and it is now almost 4 o'clock Central Time, so it's like 5 o'clock Eastern Time, and you already know I sometimes work Eastern Time. But yeah. So we're going to do quite a few things in this review. Along with me defending Gertie and Adriana, I will also be getting my face done at the same time. And I might have to do some editing here and there because I ordered some food. Because the way I waited too late to do any of this stuff, because I just been working all day, it probably doesn't help that I'm kind of hangry, that I'm seeing this and everything. But anyway, let's get into the review. First of all, we see all the ladies get prepared and get ready for the reunion. They're all getting prepared. And freaking Julia's already had her crocodile tears going. And of course, the bros are there to support her. And it was just infuriating. I should have known seeing the review. And yes, I am, like I said, I'm getting my face. We're gonna multitask. This is gonna be a get ready with me, or ready to go outside. I think that's what I used to call it, ready to go outside session, along with me doing this review. So we're multitasking here, okay? Okay. So that was one of the first things that stood out to me in this beginning of this reunion, is that they are literally, and I mean literally, basically riding for her and stuff at the beginning. And I'm just kind of like, child, the way Alexia made it sound like she, can see both sides, you are gaslighting also. I was like, okay, anyway. So one by one, all the ladies, because the behind the scenes thing didn't last very long, but one by one, all the ladies are going ahead and they are getting on stage. And everyone was there on time. And we already knew that was a whole entire thing with Elisa. She was there on time. So that was like a non-issue. She's on time. Everyone's on time. They're doing what they need to do. And that's cool. That's great. Awesome sauce, right? Right. And so then from there, we then see that we get into the pleasantries. They do a shot of tequila to get the reunion started. And they set the intentions like they always do. And they right away start talking to Alexia about her and Todd of it all. And there's always Todds on these shows, if you notice. But anyway, so we talk about that right away. And according to Alexia, they are now officially divorced. She's not seeing him anymore. She's taking her power back. Yada, yada, yada. And she basically is still trying to thrust upon us that he is the problem. He's a gaslighter. And also, too, that basically she's still villainizing him through the reunion. And now I kind of understand probably why Todd ended up doing what he did after the fact, because he definitely got the villain edit through this reunion part 1. And of course, her fellow bro, Marisol, is like, of course, for it and with it, and just saying, she doesn't like how Todd has been acting. They bring up Todd's social media, but remember, this reunion was filmed before Todd threatened to sue Bravo. So this is, and the producers. So this is even before that. So we're not getting all the things. I'm using this right now, by the way. So we're doing this same time. But anyway, so we're getting that at the same time. And also too, and this is browser drop. I'm trying to perfect this no makeup look that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make this a whole entire thing. So all right, my skin is shimmering. Oh yeah, this is exactly what I needed. It's perfect. Sorry. Again, distracted, but your girl has to multitask. Anyway, so that's kind of what she's giving us and what she's saying. And we see they aired Todd's apology video that he did like a couple 2 years ago. And then they also show like some of his other posts before he did the whole entire thing about suing Bravo. And anyway, so then somehow it comes up about that narcissistic party. And yes, she finally admits that the party was about Todd. But child, Quies has kept the way this reunion was going is given it was really about you and you're projecting. But neither here nor there. That is just kind of like, I don't know. I just don't know if I believe what Alexia is trying to tell us. Because, I don't know. She doesn't seem credible based off of her behavior in this reunion. But of course, again, like I said, Marisol, of course, has her besties back, her bro back. So, okay, I guess what I was getting at is I feel like we're not going to get the real with them. And child, I feel like the way this reunion is, and along with how things are with me trying to get caught up today, my mic might go out a couple times. So this video, just a forewarning, will probably be sliced and diced because I don't remember which mic went out. So I'm trying to charge one while simultaneously use the other. And then also get myself together to go outside the house today. So, child, it's a whole entire thing today. A whole entire thing. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Anyway, so, okay, moving on. So the next thing we are talking about is Gertie. And Gertie, girl, get behind me. Get behind me. And I think we touched on this, but we really should elaborate on this more. I feel like the main reason why Gertie was targeted this season, and I think I've said this before, is because Dr. Nicole's not there. I don't think this would ever went down. Dr. Nicole was there. None of this. None of the Julia and Gertie situation would ever went down because Gertie would have had someone. And as soon as there was an opportunity to go after Gertie and do this, I feel like this happened. So, and none of y'all can change this for me in the comments, so you can save it. Anyway, so they mentioned her and Dr. Nicole and if they're still cool. Of course they are. We kind of don't really get a full answer about when they're going to see each other again. And Gertie, this is why I'm saying get behind me, because you did not do a great job defending yourself when it came to this whole entire thing. And it kind of makes me really validate for me, and I'm not trying to diagnose you. You need to get checked out. I think you have adult ADHD for sure. And I don't know if everything that happened when it came to, your life's been pretty traumatic for the past, 2 to 3 years because of the cancer of it all. I don't know if that's making it worse, but to me, it seems really, really, it's not good because you had the toughest time when it came to all this landing the plane, and you gave a lot of the ops, because at this point, half these women are not your friends. You gave them opportunity to basically make you look really bad. They tried so hard to make you look like a fool in this reunion, and unless you can read between the tea leaves and read between the lines, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of the audience took the bait and is going to think that you are the problem. Fortunately, I ain't one of them, okay? I still can see what it is that's happening here, because ain't no microaggression in the world is going to make me feel differently about how these ladies treated you this season. And just like, and the thing is giving, the line keeps moving, because why is it that Gertie gets basically reprimanded for having her feelings, being in her feelings again after watching what happened on the show, but these other women who are defending this behavior and saying that she wasn't there for them and X thing can bring up something that happened 4 or 5 years ago. Make that make sense. And that was one of the things that they kept doing. And Alexia tried to make herself look so good throughout all this. And she's like, I don't condone what Julia did, yada, yada, yada. And then immediately then tried to, put the blame on Gertie also. I'm like, no. And the only reason why she tried to put the blame on Gertie, because she wasn't doing it originally, is because Gertie was not accepting her non-apology apology. Because that's what it was. She gave a non-apology apology, and Gertie was like, girl, you didn't apologize to me. And she did eventually apologize, but it was like, if someone has to be commanded to apologize, that's not really an apology. And at the moment, you didn't really do anything. Like, it's just a lot that I'm just kind of like, I'm not really with it. And it didn't help that Gertie just did not have a lot of good responses to things. Because even when it came to the context of like when, because they tried to bring up a season when Alexia threw water at Larsa. I'm like, the circumstances were not the same. Okay. And also too, they're missing the point of, in the case of the Larsa situation, and also in the case of what happened with, actually what happened with Larsa was one thing, and then I can't remember what the Marisol one was, but it was like from a while ago. And then they also brought up the Kiki. They're trying to make it all seem like it's all the same thing. And it's like, it's not all the same thing. There's some microaggressions there, and also too, there's some optics there, and also too, they're missing the other point, which I wish Gertie would have brought it up and she never did, is you have this tall woman who is like, a larger size standing over you prior to all this, in your face, yelling at you, and then she tried to do it again at the finale, okay? And they try to crucify Gertie for bringing up the water incident again at the finale. But it was like literally after Julia was showing similar behaviors of what she did, when she actually did throw water at her before. So Gertie's like, wait, are you going to throw water at me again? Like, of course I'm going to be on my defense, because it's not like it's a one-off situation. And Gertie, playing that she tried to land, was saying, this is you, Julia. This is something, you have a pattern of doing this. It's not a one-time thing for you. You've done this before. And what got to me and got on my nerves this whole entire time when it came to this interaction is Julia took no accountability other than apologizing. Because to me, her apology was sorry. It wasn't a true apology to me. It was, I'm sorry, leave me alone apology. Not really, I'm really sorry for what I did. Because the thing that Julia needs to apologize for real, is why did you decide that you're going to start beefing with Gertie for what? We find out later on in this segment that it never had anything to do with this cruise. So what was, in the words of Cardi B, what was the reason? What was the reason then? What was the reason for all this? Oh, you can't give one? So then why am I gonna accept your apology if I don't know the reason why you just did all this? Because it basically means, like, if she apologizes and there's no real reason of why this even became a thing, what's to stop Julia from doing this again to Gertie? You know? And then when Julia's like, my reactions and stuff are not planned. I just sometimes just react from the heart. Julia, Gertie said the right thing, which I agree with her. That's actually kind of scary that you didn't plan this. Because it's giving you're unhinged. Because it does seem like you're unhinged. Okay? And that was a thing that just really, really bothered me. And the other thing that I really wish Gertie would have landed the plane on is, in all these other situations, other issues that you're trying to bring up where it was, some physical things happening, were any of y'all recovering from cancer? Don't think so. Okay, the end. Also, in all these cases when you were the one where stuff was getting thrown at, where the throwing happened, were you the victim or the antagonizer? Because in this case of Gertie versus Julia was the one who was antagonizing this whole entire thing and then assaulted her on live television. In all these other instances, it was the person who was on the defense that did that. It doesn't make it okay. It doesn't make it better. And really, the bigger issue is all these women need to stop putting their hands on each other, because at the end of the day, this is a workplace. But at the same time, and I mean same time, let's stop trying to pretend we're so obtuse about why what we saw on our television was problematic. Because the other thing is, when Lisa tried to chime in to defend Gertie, they're like, you weren't there. And I really wish Lisa could have piped up a little bit louder. She's like, I saw what everyone else saw on TV. Because that's all you needed to see. Now, Gertie, I will say this. You do have a tough time listening because you just talk 1,000 miles per hour. I will say that. That's one of the only things I will say. Because Larsa did actually chime in and say that what she did wasn't cool. Now, the way, and by she, I mean like Julia. But the way she did it was like gentle parenting style compared to the reaction she's giving to Gertie and everything else. Because the way they reprimanded Julia with kid gloves compared to Gertie and the text messages that only proved the point that Gertie didn't lie about the cruise or anything, only to now find out at this reunion this whole entire issue had nothing to do with the cruise. Make it make sense. Then why are we here? Why'd you decide to put your hands on Gertie? Why'd you decide to stand over her and intimidate her? A woman who literally is recovering from cancer. Yes, I know Gertie gets on our nerves, and the way she was trying to defend herself and she couldn't do it very well, that kind of got on my nerves too. But based off of everything I saw here, it's like, girl, Gertie, I love you, but you need to probably go and get checked out and figure out if you have like adult ADHD, because it's giving that you do, because you could not land that plane to save your life to really stop these women from trying to flip and reverse it. Because that's what they were trying to do. And even at the end, Adriana multiple times was trying to help you and you kept shutting her down. And it's like, Adriana was trying to help you. And because Adriana was seeing the play and seeing that you couldn't land the plane, but you didn't realize you couldn't land the plane, but you weren't landing the plane. Because you have to make it clear, there has to be no crumbs left. And I really wanted you to eat Julia up. And I think you should have already came with that mindset and being aware that these other women, the bros, they're the ones who put the gas on her to do all this. You already know you should know you're going against them too. And Larsa's a friend to no one. she's an opportunist. So she's going to go where she thinks opportunities are. And right now she thinks the OGs are that. So she's going to defend that couch. And you need to be ready. And whenever Larsa chimed in, if that would have been me, I'm like, Larsa, sit this one out. This has nothing to do with you. Every single time, I'm like, oh, just like, I would have been like, shut her down. And I love that Gertie did try to say, okay, this was from that season. This is this season now. And then Alexia gets all loud and aggressive towards her, like, it's like, girl, but it is that. And that was a problem. And so I'm just kind of like, oh my gosh. I was done. I was so done. And then Julia claims she's apologized. And this is, and Andy, you should sit this segment out, because whenever it comes to microaggressions, when it comes to Black women on these shows, you don't see it because you don't understand it and you don't live it. So I understand you don't understand it. And I just really wish Gertie would have brought that point home, and she couldn't bring it home because she couldn't land the plane. Yeah, side note, y'all probably thought I wasn't going to mention the plane because of Stephanie. I'm mentioning the plane because, child, that was all I could describe this as. It's like, Gertie, land the plane, get to the point. And she just couldn't do it. And it was like infuriating me. I was like, oh my gosh, why can't you land this plane? Anyway, so one of the things I wrote down is, how are we supposed to move forward when we don't know the actual reason what caused all this? Because Angie just kept pushing, Gertie, how can you move forward? Gertie, how can you move forward? I'm not moving forward with someone if I don't know the reason why we're even fighting. There's no reason for me to move forward. Like, what forward movement do you expect from me on that? I'm sorry, but I'm really not sorry at all. Like, that, where do they do that at? I was trying to figure that out for the life of me this whole entire time. I was like, okay, that doesn't even make any sense. Like, how am I supposed to move forward with this lady, or move forward when I don't even know why we're even arguing? Like, I don't know. I was too done when I was hearing this. I was like, what in the, I don't know. And yes, I am putting lashes on, and child, we're doing this while I'm doing the review. This is a case of when multitasking goes crazy. Hopefully not wrong. Oh, child, this is probably not going to go well. All right, uno momento. Okay, and also side note, yeah, I just put my lashes on. But anyway, the other thing that bothered me is that Kiki, girl, you should have also sat this one out. Because then she tried to claim that it was Gertie's fault that people started calling Kiki racist. I'm like, no one called Kiki racist. They just were calling her out for not really defending Gertie the way she should have. Like, the way she tried to pull Gertie out of that situation. I know we talked about this already, but the way she tried to pull Gertie out of the situation is, if Gertie was the aggressor, it's like, no, you pull the aggressor out of the room, not the person who's not the aggressor. That makes no sense at all. And so, just between that and the bros and Larsa, like, clearly all of them met up and had an agenda and decided they're going to go with this narrative to make themselves look better than how they looked, because they knew when this episode aired how trash they looked. And instead of taking ownership, this is what we got. And, Julia is still trying to say, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Andy finally shuts it down. He's like, yeah, the moving forward is not going to happen today. And it's too complicated. And it was just partially because Gertie had a tough time articulating her thoughts. But yeah, Larsa, you should have stayed out of it, because what you were arguing with Adrienne about last season literally had nothing, or 2 seasons ago, wherever that was, is not the same thing. And so that was what was getting me about these women. They just don't see it for Gertie. And also, one of the things we saw in the unseen footage is they were trying to give Gertie a hard time for just being cool for being so close to Dr. Nicole. after because they called themselves trying to comfort Gertie after everything happened. We saw a lot of unseen footage after all this happened, and the producers, y'all are lame for that also. I'm sorry, but that's some BS that we're seeing a lot of this stuff after the fact. Like, it's truly unacceptable. So I'm just kind of just like, wow, this is lame. This is super, super lame. So that's kind of how I was feeling about that. I ain't gonna put the lipstick on yet, or lip gloss on yet. But yeah, no, I was just so through with this situation. I'm like, where do they do this at? Anyway, let's move on. Next, we then do get into the segment with Stephanie. And Stephanie, they talk about the playing. They also talk about her flaunting money. And she's doubling down on it. And you know what? If that's what she's going to do, that's fine. She's like, when you win a championship ring, you show it off. You wear the ring. If you feel bad about it, I don't know what to tell you, but that's just me. I'm going to show it off. I'm successful. I do well. That's what it is. And so we kind of got on that. We'll continue in a little bit. My food's ready. Side note, this reunion didn't really justify for me why did Stephanie get the first seat. It also didn't justify why Alexia got the first seat. I'm confused, but also maybe it just, I don't know. I'm kind of confused by the whole situation. I think Julia for sure got the first seat, even though I don't care for her, but she was the center of the drama this season. So really, she should have got the first seat. And then if you're not going to do, the non-full-time people, Gertie should have got the first seat. To me. Because I know we put a pin in the conversation, but to me, that was most of the drama for the first half of the season, was that. But I will say that this reunion reminded me how much I really miss Dr. Nicole. Because I think, with Dr. Nicole's help, I think she could have landed that plane. Because those ladies were not going to let Gertie land that plane. In general, either way, to me, in my personal, I kind of think that was part of the issue. And yes, I am trying to do this right now. I know we're talking about Stephanie here, but I'm just bringing it back around real quick. Okay. Side note, I'm doing all this. I don't even know if I'm going to go out. I'm actually trying to figure out what I'm going to do in the next couple weeks. So for those who don't know, well, y'all wouldn't know because I didn't tell you this, but so Chicago's Fashion Week is in a couple weeks. And so I'm trying to experiment with different looks to figure out what's going to work and what I'm going to end up going with. Because I don't want this to take forever when I actually do implement my looks. So that's kind of why I'm using, instead of using my magnetic lashes, I'm using like my adhesive lashes because I'm probably not going to use them again. And I'm just kind of trying to get a feel because I don't want to have to do the whole thing, have to wipe all this off. To kind of get a feel of what's going to work versus what's not going to work. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now also. I'm doing a little bit of everything right now. But anyway, back to Stephanie. Oh yeah, I know how I got there. See, multitasking going horribly wrong. And the fact that I'm at lunch yet. Anyway, so we also talk about Stephanie and her relationship with Dr. Nicole and the fact that Dr. Nicole and her both dated Anthony. And Gertie kind of gets entered into the chat a little bit, and Gertie can understand why that would happen. And I can too, because honestly, they kind of look similar. They look like they could be cousins to me. When you see a side by side of Dr. Nicole and Stephanie, they do have a similar aesthetic. So if it's by the physical, it's like, okay, Anthony has a type. And then Stephanie also does finally address the rumors about her being a mistress. She's like, yeah, no, I'm not. I was never a mistress. I don't know that lady. And so that's sad on that. And then she also has not really talked to her sisters, but she does admit that she might be part of the problem. And so I'm glad she was at least able to admit that she might be part of the problem, because it's like, yeah, girl, it might be you a little bit. And then she also says, you know, this first season has been a good experience, and I'm learning that I didn't think I would like any of the girls, but actually like everyone on this cast. So she's cool with everybody for the most part, it seems like. I think we're going to talk more to Stephanie a little bit later. This was just more or less her package about her coming new and being on the show for the first time. And we'll probably get into her a little bit more when we talk about some of the conflicts that she's had throughout the season with the different individual women. So that's kind of all we got here. Moving on. Next, we have a brief segment on Lisa. And we'll probably, again, talk about Lisa a little bit more when we talk about Lisa and Larsa's situation they had throughout this season. But without that, what we end up talking about initially here is Lisa and the AC comment that Jody mentioned. And he really was talking about air conditioning. And honestly, looking back, I think it was that. I think Larsa was trying to deflect on her situation that she had with her ex, who really did have an AC problem. So, yeah. Because I don't think Larsa wanted to talk about that. And then the other thing was that kind of got brought up in this segment was Lisa's poor time management skills. And she mentions that she started going to therapy, and that has helped her figure all this out. And Jody's been a major component to her getting herself together. And so she's actively trying to make the steps of basically being a more independent person and being more mindful about how she handles things and how she handles conflict and conflict resolution. And really the way to sum up this segment was growth. The other thing that did come up besides this was Martina's comments about surrogacy. And of course, Julia is caping for her wife and saying our views are not the same. And I was also disappointed by those comments. She deleted the comment since she didn't retract it, but she deleted the comment. So, and to me, that's telling, because she said what she meant and she meant what she said. And which is wild to me, because how, as a woman who you're not having kids a natural way, and you don't even have your children as a natural way, how are you going to speak on other options outside of having kids a natural way as someone who's actually part of the LGBTQ plus community? But we see this a lot, unfortunately, when certain people in certain communities, you cape for what works best for you, and that's it, and you ain't really caping for the whole community. And that's kind of what I get from Martina. Y'all already know I don't care for Martina, because Pepperidge Farm has never forgotten how she treats Venus and Serena. I will never forget it. Okay? And I will continue to remind y'all in my videos how I will not forget it. Because to me, I don't think no one should. But anyway. So that's kind of all we get here. And then we move on to the rest of... This was very Julia heavy, this reunion. But that's because she was the center of the drama. So... Anyway, let's get into Julia, and then Julia and Adriana, and the bombshell. That wasn't really a bombshell. It kind of landed flat for me. My personal, I feel like it landed flat. Because I don't believe Julia. All the way. Keyword is all the way. We'll get into it next. Okay, so next we talk about Julia and her and the Godfather situation. And then from there, Andy asks a shady question of, okay, do you have a godmother yet? And she's like, yeah, no, me and Martina do not have a godmother yet. And then Andy asks, like, so has Adriana ever been considered as an option? And Julia Ryway says no. And Adriana's like, that's really kind of messed up. And even Gertie even agrees, because what we find out, and this was mentioned in the after show for those who didn't watch the after show, but she reiterates this. She's like, but that's kind of messed up. Like, Adriana assisted her not once, but twice in character interviews for them to get the kids. So Adriana, in a sense, if it wasn't for her, they wouldn't have even had the children. So that's crazy that you had her do all that for you to not do anything as far as, her being part of the kids' lives. And then Kiki, Miss Pick Me over here, is like, well, it depends on the timing of it. I was like, no, it doesn't. If you go away. Like, really? Like, she was getting on my nerves. I'm just kind of like, you are such a pick me, and it is pathetic. Are y'all clickety clacking or something? Because it's giving that. You are riding so hard for Julia. It is ridiculous to me. But anyway. So then we then have the next segment of Julia and Adriana's relationship breaking down. And we see why. It's Julia. Julia has been the problem the whole entire time. And of course, Julia, forever being the victim, because she is a professional victim, is not taking any accountability. And one of the questions initially, before we even get started with getting more into it, that Andy asked, Adriana, is like, do you think Julia getting close with Marisol and Alexia is the reason for your friendship breakdown? Julia immediately tries to interrupt, tries to do the most, and thank God Adriana is a little bit more well-spoken. She's like, yeah, girl, he asked me. He didn't ask you. And Andy even's like, no, I asked her. Like, you could talk next. And she's like, honestly, it's not Alexia. It's Marisol. Because the behavior really started changing once Marisol got in your ear, not really Alexia. And I can see that because if you watch the original show, Alexia was never giving that evil energy and mean girl energy. It's always been Marisol. Marisol's just always kind of had a dark spirit to her. And even in this reunion, I was like, you have a dark spirit to you. And side note, did y'all notice that Marisol's face was kind of broken out on one side? I don't know if she didn't have enough time to get that touched up or anything, but I just kept looking at that and I was so distracted. I don't know why. Every time they showed her, I just saw how broken up her face was. I was so confused. I was like, there's no makeup in the world that can hide that? I was confused. Or maybe this is a case of when you don't drink enough water, that happens. I don't know. I just don't know anything about face breaking out like that. I don't. That hasn't happened to me since I was a teenager, but that's just me. Anyway. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to shade, but I'm also being shady. Anyway, so we go more into the breakdown. And then after, Adriana expresses and articulate things so beautifully, we have Julia, the stunt queen, over on the other side. She's like, I think once I reveal something, this will clear a lot of things up. You know that trip to the Hamptons? Me and Adriana, we slept together. And of course, that side of the couch, the side that Julia was on, was like, oh my God! Because to me, it's giving they planned this. And Lisa, she's kind of like, what? And even Stephanie's like, what? And Gertie and I, we were the same. It's like, really? Really? You sleeping with someone causes you to have crappy behavior? And also too, how are you in this community and you're outing someone on national TV? How disgusting is that? Because even whether it's true or not, you literally just outed Adriana on national TV. Where do they do that? Where do they think that's okay? Because at the end of the day, what does that have to do with you doing what you did? That has nothing to do with what you did at all. Like, make it make sense. So are you trying to say like Adriana's obsessed with you? Last time I checked, other than Adriana, the first season or whatever that you guys were like hanging out and you guys are best friends, you used to flirt with each other But let's see the history of you on this show versus Adriana's show. You flirt with everyone on this show. You are giving gay to pay. That's the energy you give. And you have a history of these rumors of you cheating on Martina. And maybe you're not cheating on her. Maybe y'all have an arrangement, but at the end of the day, that's none of our business. And you treating someone poorly, what does that have to do with you guys sleeping with each other? That makes no sense. I feel like she thought this was going to be a gotcha moment. And I'm sorry, for me, I was more disgusted because, like, why are you outing someone on national TV? What is that? That's just me. Now, do I believe that something might have happened between them that was a little bit more than just friend stuff? Yes, I do believe that. I think definitely something more than just friend stuff happened there. Do I think that they did the whole entire act of things together? No, I don't believe that. I don't, like, honestly, Adriana doesn't give that energy. And that's just me speaking for someone that does give that energy, because I am, I'm pansexual, for those who didn't know. Even though I mainly date men, I will entertain. And really, at the end of the day, who I end up being with is whoever I end up being with. I don't really care, for real. It's just, I almost always end up dating a guy. Does that stop me from talking to others? No. I'm actually currently talking to someone right now that is, I am for everybody over here. But I'm also, I guess, I'm a reformed hoe. Again, why am I putting my tea out there? That's neither here nor there. We that was a time in life, as I like to say, I've lived many lives. Okay. But in this case, that was my prerogative to say. Now, if I was to go an extra step and then say all the people I mess with, that's kind of messed up to me. I think that's really messed up and is mad corny. Especially if they might be, if it's, a same-sex situation or whatever. Like, I don't know their personal tea of if they're out or not. Especially if they have no history of that behavior in the past. I'm not going to just say that to anyone and everyone. That is wild to me. So that's why my reaction just wasn't what it was supposed to be. But anyway, it ended as a to be continued. And do I think, clearly they've kissed, because Julia kisses everybody on the show. Have they kissed in other places other than just, the tongue? Maybe. Do I think, Adriana initiated? Absolutely not. I think Julia initiated, because she always initiates these things, like including her rubbing Lars's feet. That's inappropriate, So they probably did some things that, closer girlfriends sometimes do. But and it might have been on the lines of inappropriate. But full on sleeping with each other, they might have slept in the same bed. That's about as far as I think it was. I don't really think they went all the way on doing stuff together. And even if they did, I don't care. This is 2025 about to be 2026. Because yes, we're already in the fourth quarter. So why would I care about if they slept with each other or not? So yeah, this bombshell did not land for me. I was kind of just like, okay, girl. Okay. So how to rate this reunion part one? I don't even know, child. I don't even know, because I just feel like this is turning to the Fox Force 5. It's turning to something else, and I don't like it. I'm still getting the same energy I got from the season finale and the first part of the reunion. And I really need Gertie to do a better job of articulating her thoughts and landing a damn plane. And I need her to match some of these women's energy, because some of these women need some energy matching so they can go away from me over here. Some of these women, if they had a good person that could read them down, they would be quiet forever. And now I'm talking about Alexia. She needs someone who could just read her down, because the only response she'll be able to do is just yell. As in like the Alexia, that's why she did all that, because like, girl, that's all you got is yelling and being loud. You, a person that could read her down, never. And then Marisol, why are you talking? You're not even the main cast member. See, I had time, and I just really wish this is the case. I was like, I really was like, oh, tag me in. Anyway, but yeah, that does conclude this first part of the reunion. And we are going to do a Miami's hot, 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 hot fire. Because if you didn't know this by the last few episodes of the season, including even this part of the reunion, Adriana's kind of carrying it. Because Larsa, I forgot she was there. Also forgot Kiki was there. Kind of forgot Lisa was there a little bit. Stephanie, because she had a segment, I kind of remember, but not really. Same thing with, Lisa. She had a segment, but Marisol, why are you there? Other than stirring the pot behind the scenes and throwing the rock and high in your hand. I hope they do get into her, this reunion. I really do. But anyway, like I said, that concludes things. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and I will see you next time. Bye.